What's up guys, my name is Brian. In this video I'm going to be sharing exactly how to start shadowboxing at home, in the gym, in your backyard. It could be honestly wherever. That's the beauty behind shadowboxing. So it's going to be a small little follow along workout and I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get it. Shadowboxing is one of the most underrated parts of training, and most people skip it and treat it like a warm-up, but this is actually where everything comes together. When you are shadowboxing, you're not just throwing punches and kicks. You're building muscle memory, programming your body to move the right way without thinking. The thing is that there's no bag to correct you. There's no pads to guide you. It's just you versus you and your technique, obviously. This is where you're able to slow down and actually feel your balance with your footwork and your hip rotation. Throughout the time of shadowboxing, you really start to pick up and notice the little things that get lost when you're sparring or hitting pads. Is your guard too tight or are you getting lazy? These minor little details separates an average fighter from the sharp ones. And the only way to really catch it is by spending time alone with your moves. A lot of people think shadowboxing is boring or pointless because you're not actually hitting anything. But that's actually why it works. When there's no target in front of you, you have to create something for yourself and imagine and use your rhythm to time the distance. You're no longer reacting anymore. You're just building your offense from scratch. Anybody can throw power at a heavy bag, but not everybody can move with intention when nothing's in front of them. A lot of times, shadowboxing is like a mental reset. You know, when I step in and I start moving, I'm not thinking about anything else. It's just me and my body figuring things out. And the thing is I love to play with combinations I don't normally throw. A lot of times I work angles I've been struggling with. I'll slow down everything and I try to focus on one technique for 5 minutes straight. This is where you really experiment without any consequences. You can mess up 100 times and it doesn't even matter because no one's there to punish you for it. The best fighters in the world are all shadowboxing religiously. It's not a coincidence, you know. You watch any footage of elite fighters and elite guys warming up or cooling down, and they're always moving, always visualizing. They understand the fight is won in the moments nobody sees. The constant hours alone in the gym, just you and your reflection. This is exactly where all the confidence comes from. Not from someone telling you you're good, but from knowing deep down that you put in the work when it wasn't fun, when it wasn't flashy, and when nobody was watching. One of the biggest things that changed my shadowboxing was learning how to switch stances. Most fighters get comfortable in one stance and they stay there the whole time. But when you start to switch stances from orthodox to southpaw or southpaw to orthodox, mid-combination you become unpredictable. You can throw a jab from orthodox, switch your feet, and now you're loading up a left kick from southpaw, then switch back and angle off. When you drill this in shadowboxing, it stops being a thought, but it starts to become an instinct. You get to flow in and out of stances like nothing. And honestly, your opponent has no idea what's coming next. Feints are the one thing that makes shadowboxing look sharp. A feint isn't just flinching at someone, it's selling a shot that you're not throwing so you can land one that you actually want to land. For an example, you twitch your shoulders like you're about to throw a jab, and that brings your opponent's hands up, and then from there, that opens you and sets you up for a nice body kick on your opponent. You dip your knee like you're about to throw a teep, and then when they react, you come over the top. In shadowboxing, you should always be feinting, just as much as you're actually throwing. Once you get comfortable with throwing these feints, this actually starts to become a beneficial addition to your shadowboxing. Here's something that a lot of people miss, and what I preach to a lot of my students is that you do not have to throw everything fast. Sometimes you throw a quick 1-2 and then you pause just for a second, and from there you're able to reset your feet and visualize exactly where your opponent is, and then from there you could throw your next shot with full intention. That pause isn't hesitation, it's precision. You're not just throwing to throw, you're throwing to pick your moments. When you shadowbox, try adding small breaks between your combinations. Fast, then slow. Let the shot breathe before you commit. And that's exactly how you are able to develop a timing that actually transfers to fighting. A lot of the time, I really try to work on being light on my toes. You know, you should never be flat-footed. Even when you're not throwing anything, you're bouncing slightly. You're alive. And from that posture and position, you can push off an angle from any direction. Draw a combination, then instead of stepping straight, you could back pivot to the side, switch your stances, and circle the other way. The goal is to never be in the same spot twice. If you're shadowboxing in a straight line, forward and backwards, you're doing it completely wrong. Think about it as taking angles, you know, think in a circle. Think about your opponent turning and finding you. This is why you're constantly on your toes moving around. Once you put all this together, shadowboxing actually becomes something different. You're not just warming up, you're building a style, switching stances in the middle of combinations, throwing feints that feel real, and mixing fast bursts with slow intention shots. Staying on your toes and working angles the entire time. This is exactly where you build it alone in the gym, outside when nobody is watching. Build it by being intentional with every single movement. And that's exactly what separates fighters who look clean from fighters who actually look like they're going through with the motions. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for future videos. I'd love to hear it. Love you guys.